just a few more people, and then we can dive right into it. Today, I'm going to be talking about I called it, what do you call it? Questions Black people in America and in the better still in the diaspora ask all the time. I just want to address some of them, tackle a few of them and see if it can be beneficial to anybody. We'll put information out as we gather. We'll put it out and see who it can bless. So let me see if I have a few people from Facebook joining and YouTube, then we could get right into it. I just trust that everybody is doing great. In the times, I just trust we're doing good. So it's Monday. I was actually Monday, so it's a blessed day for me particularly. For some reasons, Monday happened to be a very busy day. But yeah, I was born on Monday, so today is my day. Yep. So I just came to share a few thoughts as usual to see who it could be of benefit to. Who do I have here? All right. So I have some people come and go. So yeah, I'm not sure who's on right now. But yeah, I appreciate whoever is on. I'll be diving into it very soon because I, in particular, is very passionate about the African continent. Very, 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 very passionate and enthused about the things of the continent for sure. So I can talk about it all day long. I wouldn't get tired. Okay. All right, so Fred is still here. That's good. Good to know. Good still here. I appreciate you, brother. But I mean, yeah, you can come and go, no problems. No problems. But at least you'll be able to capture something as I along. So I'll be diving into it. I'm just talking about the week, this time around. I mean, the what do you call it? The days are moving very fast. For some reasons, it's moving very fast. I mean, the next another Sunday is here, and I'm like, whoa, like that was so quick. That was quick. It didn't take a lot of time. That was so quick. But yeah, what can we do? We just have to keep doing what we do with some urgency, I believe, because the rate at which everything is moving fast. If you're not doing what you have to be doing, yeah, time closes up on you. So we need to get it going as soon as we can. As soon as we can. Let me see. So Fred, yeah, we'll get into it right now. I'll make sure I give some valuable information that can it could make up for something. So I have some people watching on. Okay, so my Facebook people are here. So yes, nobody made a comment, so I wasn't too sure because of where I'm streaming. I wasn't too sure if somebody was there yet, but at least I could see now that I have about 7 people on Facebook. So yes, Fred, so we can get into it now because I see I have some people watch. So I appreciate you all, those watching from Facebook. I appreciate you for jumping. This is Nyamakwe with Certified Africa. So wherever you're watching from, whether you're watching on Kristen's page or Certified Africa or Instagram or YouTube, I appreciate you all. I'll try my best. Anytime I come online, I try to give at least some valuable information that could be beneficial to somebody with regards to Africa. Because Certified Africa, our goal is to be able to get as many Black people connected to the continent, and not just connect, but to find some value. So whatever could be a hindrance, I usually like to address these things as we move along. So today I'll start with a quote. Like I said, I'll be dealing with some questions. I'll be answering some questions that people from the diaspora usually ask. And for me, being in this spot, of course, I'm sure other people from Europe and other parts, but in America, I've had a lot of people asking me some of these questions, and they're questions that people pose, but then there are also excuses that people make why when it comes to Africa. So I'm going to be addressing some of these things to see if it doesn't fall within is a hindrance to you, then I could address whatever it is if you tell me what it is. So first of all, I like to start with a quote which I believe is very crucial to this subject matter. And this quote is from a Nigerian man called Ayodele Odusola. Now, he is a chief economist of United Nations Developmental Projects Regional Bureau for Africa, so UNDP Regional Bureau for Africa. And he made this quote regarding Africa. And I want us to listen very carefully before I dive into these things that I want to share today as much as possible. He says the best time to in Africa is now. And if you could see my thing, I like to highlight now. So technically, it says the best to invest in Africa is now. However, he says foreign investors have not moved into the continent as quickly as expected because foreign investment decisions are often methodically overstructured. Now, basically what he's trying to say is that, you know, the best time to invest in Africa is now. However, people who are from the outside, from the diaspora, and he wasn't referring to just black people, but I'm actually limiting it to black because it's very important to me. But he was talking about everybody else, anybody outside of the African continent that thinks about any type of investment, whatever it may be. He said people have kind of overthought the whole process. It looks so cumbersome when it comes to thinking about taking a step when it comes to Africa. And it says one of the major factors that people cite when it comes to why they want to make sure everything is perfect when it comes to doing business or investing in Africa anywhere. It says it's two things. But the main one that he talked about, which I'll deal with today, is risk. He said risk. A lot of people, when it comes to Africa, investing, or better still, doing any type of business or doing any type of project even on the continent, that the economist is talking about is risk. He said a lot of people allow risk to make their process very cumbersome when it comes to Africa and doing business there. So he's saying, but risk and profits are inseparable twins. High risk ventures are frequently associated with higher profits. Now, what he's basically saying is, and the reason I'm sharing this quote with you, he said the best time to invest in Africa is now. He said, however, people have hold back when it comes to the continent because of risk. But he's saying that risk and profit are like twins. You can't separate them. You cannot want more profit without wanting to take risk, basically. So he's saying risk and profit are like inseparable twins. You can't separate the two. The higher the risk, the more the profit. So let's bring that to African terms. A lot of us want to do different things on the continent. Even for some people, just visit. But they consider the continent a risky place. So because of that risk, the gain they will get, the satisfaction they'll get in visiting their motherland, their roots, they pass. They don't take it. Why? Because they feel it's risk. And he's saying, look, you cannot have if there's no risk. You cannot have the benefit if you don't have the risk. So you cannot be connected to your roots, to your culture, if you don't get the risk, if you don't do away with the fear of actually being able to take that step. So what Ayodele is actually saying is that when it comes to the African continent, don't allow the risk aspect that you see or hear from the media stop you from the profit that you could get when it comes to the continent. And putting profits in context, not profits, just monetary profits, but profit with personal satisfaction. Because a person who is dying to connect to their roots, but they're allowing the risk the risk that is related to the continent that they hear stop them from satisfying that thing. Of course, that's a loss for you. So he's saying you cannot separate the risk from the profit. I'd like to address some of the questions that people from the outside ask when it comes to the diaspora. And they ask those questions not just as questions, but also as excuses why they can actually, or they shouldn't actually take those steps. And I feel it's very important to address that. The first thing I want to deal with before I even move to the questions is the fear factor. The fear factor, because in my conversations with a lot of people outside of the continent, for most of them who have never visited, fear It's one of the major things. And a lot of them kind of are in denial of the fact that they're afraid of the numerous things that they've had in the past. Why did they actually want to visit the continent? But you see, the fear part is only a myth, I should say. It doesn't really exist. The reasons for which people are afraid to visit Africa, or to move to Africa, or to live in Africa, or to do business in Africa, these things are actually myths. They don't really exist. So the aspect of fear, all you have to do is you cannot unfear necessarily. All you could do is ignore and then move into it. Take a bold step and say, look, if I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. Whatever it may be for you. If it's a business person who wants to have some type of investment in Africa, of course, there will be profit and loss. If it is somebody who is more emotional, of course, it will still be a win or a lose in that respect. But I guarantee that you will not visit a continent under no circumstance that you're going to lose in that respect if you do your things right. If you go with the right attitude when it comes to when you're not doing any financial investment in a business or starting anything, the emotional aspect, if you go with the right mindset, you're not going to lose. So there'll be no need to fear in that respect. And when it comes to those who want to invest or do business as well, you're still not going to lose if you do your things right. Same. If you go with the right attitude, the right information, when it comes to the business, but you're not going to lose. If it comes to the emotional people who are not investing but are trying to connect to the motherland, you're not going to lose in that respect as well. However, like I said, risk and profits, risk and rewards are inseparable twins, like the chief economics of the UNDP is saying. So when it comes to Africa, you need to have that at the back of your mind. That one, you're not going to lose. However, whatever it may be that makes you feel that this thing is very risky, you have to understand that equally, with that same thing, there's a high reward that you could accomplish when it comes to African continent. Now, so the fear factor is just a myth. It doesn't really exist. So that part, if you can do away with it by just taking action, that will be resolved. The fear part. If you're afraid of whatever, that Africa is a risky place, so I don't want to take a step, I'm saying just ignore that and then take the step and see what happens, whether you're going to lose or win. Now, it's a three-step process for the diaspora to go through when it comes to diving into Africa. You know, I'm taking my time to deal with a few things, to touch on a few things that I think could be of benefit to somebody. So at any point in time you join, I just hope that you find some value that I'm sharing today. You know, even if it's one person that finds value, that would be amazing. All right, hey, thank you for joining. I see Hannah join at some point. Ayele Pickens join. Yeah, I appreciate you for joining. Talking about Africa and some of the questions that people usually have when it comes to the continent. And we're looking at it in the context, not just as questions, but as excuses that people make when it comes to the continent. And I'm talking about the fear factor, that people have to do away with the fear. And you can do away with the fear by taking action, by just going ahead and moving. That's how you could do a piece. Now, so that it's a three-step process that I like to tackle. You know, one, accepting who you are. I think that a lot of Black people, for most people outside of the continent, you know, maybe you are visited or you identify more, but there are thousands of other people. I did a little research and I realized that the percentage of Black people from outside, especially in America, travel to Africa are only about 3%. You can imagine out of 100%, if 3% make that move, you wonder what happens to the 97%. What happens to them? Why are they not taking the steps? It means something's happening to them. And I think a greater part of that, in my conversations with people are not accepting who they are, because a lot of people have a disconnection with the African aspect of them. It's very key. And I've seen people whose parents are direct from the continent, who have been born outside of the continent, or who have moved from the continent when they're very young. And at a point in time in their life, they lose touch with the continent. They fail to begin to identify with the continent. The day you start feeling disjointed from the continent, that's the day it begins to get tough and difficult for you to go to the continent to do anything whatsoever. Very key, very important. So the first piece is for you to accept your connection to the African continent. That's the first step that you have to take. It's a very serious step process if you want to be able to go to the African continent freely and wholeheartedly. Is for you to begin to identify with the African continent. If the people outside of the continent can begin minds to identify more with that, they'll find reasons to overcome the fear to be able to make the step. Until they do that, that will be a problem. So somebody says, I will address some of the questions. How do you think make it attractive for African Americans to make a trip? Well, we can make it attractive again by we talking about it more, and by we also seeing other people take the trip, other people go and come back and share their stories and testimonies. I had a presentation in Miami some time ago, and I told them that, look at me. I'm from Africa. I'm a product of Africa. If there's anything that could happen to you in Africa, it should have happened to me, but I'm intact. I've lived in Africa my entire life. So what excuse do you have? And I in fact, some of my presentations I'm doing, I'll be showing some pictures, some imagery. I'll be giving an imagery of what Africa looks like, through pictures, actual pictures that are taken from there. And we've done some what do you call it? Videos where we've actually shown some clips from our experiences that we have with Certified Africa. So I think that's how we could begin to get a picture about Africa. Media, through social media. If you go on our page, you can see some of the things that we share about the continent. So my brother or my sister, I think that's my sister. I think that's how we can begin to share some of these. We can begin to paint a picture to make it attractive for people to be able to make it. And I said, again, you have to take a step. When you take a step and go, that is overcoming the risk and then going, then you will be able to see them from you. Everybody that comes after you, everybody in your circles, your society, you cannot be an influence for them because you took the risk to go. That's the key. So when you take the risk to move, you can now go and show them the videos and say, hey, Africa is not what they say it is. It's actually a very attractive place that you can also actually visit. So the next thing that I'll talk about, of course, I talk about the fear piece. That's the second piece in the 3-step process. One, accepting who you are and your connection to the African continent. The day you begin to accept that, that is a first step to that journey to the continent, to do something that gives you value. That's very key. Then the third thing is you being able to take a firm decision to make the move. It's very key. If I say make the move, not relocate, I'm talking about taking a step to visit and do whatever you want to do. You have to be able to make a decision. A lot of people are not able to make the decisions. It's hard when it comes to Africa. All they need is to be able to decide that, yes, I'm going, and that's it. Nothing anybody's going to say is going to change. I'm going to Africa to do business, and nothing is going to stop me. I'm going to take the step. I'm going to move. That is what some people need in the 3-step process, the ability to take a decision. This is the time I am going, and nothing is going to stop me. When we begin to get to that point where we can say, I am going and nothing is stopping me, you will begin to take action. You begin to find how you can get a visa. You begin to find how you can get a plane. You begin to find how I can identify somebody who can help me through the process. You have to be able to take a decision. Hello, Miss John. Good to have you here. I appreciate you so much. So I'm talking about Africa and some of the questions or excuses that people make when it comes to the continent, visiting, and of course, doing anything valuable like business or anything. Now, so the first thing that I've had a lot of people ask, which I've addressed a number of times, which we'll keep addressing because people need to keep hearing it over and over again. The first question that people usually ask, which after today, I think you should demolish that from your dictionary, of your notes that you have, a list of excuses, or your list of questions that you have about Africa and why you're not taking a step, do anything about it. You have to eliminate it. The first one is, are there opportunities in Africa? And in fact, on our usual live call, I actually addressed a piece of that. I went into some opportunities, I believe. So people ask, are there opportunities in Africa? Yes, there are opportunities in Africa. So many that you can never imagine. So many that you can find anywhere in the world. That's very true. What you need is a startup capital, which I addressed on Friday. When you have a startup, that's it. If you have a startup capital through partnership or whatever, there's nothing you cannot do when it comes to the African continent. So yes, there are a number of opportunities on a continent. I'm not going to list the opportunities here. I'm only answering those questions. I've talked about some of the, I've vowed that every Friday I'll try and give at least one opportunity as much as I can that somebody can venture into. So just so you know, to join on Friday, 4:30, every Friday, talk about Africa. So yes, if you're here and there's a first time you're coming in contact with somebody answering that question, what are not the opportunities in Africa? Yes, there are. Yes, there are. In fact, Africa has about 1.2 billion people. At 1.2 billion people. And if you have a place with that number of people, what will not sell? What would you do that you don't have people to patronize? What will you do that you don't have people to work? So yes, there are a lot of opportunities and there are a lot of challenges in other place. So many of them that as you begin to find solutions to them, you're answering a question. You're answering a question that you're going to and a reward for. So there are a lot of opportunities on the African continent. So scrap that out of your dictionary as a reason why. I mean, what opportunities are there? So I'm not anything business with Africa. No, I'm not. It's not for me. I'll stay in America and think about what I can. I'll stay in the UK alone and focus on what I can do in the UK. You know. So yes, there are opportunities. Somebody's asking a question which I'll address at some point. You know. So let me see. It said there are opportunities, but how is the process? I watched a lady on YouTube in Ghana, and it took her about 4 years just to register a business. So how is the process? Is that another business idea? I guess it's a business idea, you could say. So it took her 4 years to register a business in Ghana. It's taking. You didn't mention Ghana, but I see the flag. The person was on YouTube. It took 4 years. Yesterday, I was on a live yesterday, and another person who registered a business in Ghana said it took a split. It took a split, less than a week. She registered. So again, there are differences depending on who did that. So if somebody maybe sits outside of Ghana and wants to initiate a process of registering a business, of course that could take a very long time because Africa, they like to see you. We're still growing. Some parts of us, Ghana specifically, Ghana specifically, it's good for them to see you. So if you're not even there, you have somebody credible who is going through that process for you. Yes, I've registered a good number of business, I can tell you. And it doesn't take 4 years business. That's never true. I should tell you. I don't know I wouldn't say it's not true. I don't know the circumstances under which the person was trying to register a business, why it took 4 years to register. But it's never done. In fact, in Rwanda, you can sit in the comfort of your home and register a business. In 3 days, you have your business registration. In Ghana, I know it may take a number of days or let's say a week at most. Sometimes it may take longer than a week, but it doesn't take 4 years. It's never true. And I know, sir, I can tell you, as it's never true that it takes 4 years to register a business. Whoever had that experience, there must be a reason. Until I know that, I can't speak to that. But that's not the case. You can register a business within a split of a finger. Maybe there are some regulations. Their business was supposed to meet up, and they were able to meet up. So their thing was held onto them. Because aside registering a business, there are some things that based on the business you're running, you need to certify, some certificates and all of that. So when you don't have that, they may not register your business. So maybe the person didn't have something, and until they got it, there was no way they were going to conclude the registration. So maybe that's the situation there. So the second question, which also serves as an excuse for some people when it comes to Africa, why they don't take the step, why they don't move, is a question of distance. They say, well, Africa is too far. Africa is too far. And I've heard that a lot. I've heard that a lot from a lot of different people, that Africa is too far. I mean, whoa, why do I travel all these miles? But you see, I did a little check. And this is something we black people, we have, which is quite problem. And at first of all, I told you, if you can identify with a continent more, some of these hurdles will easily be jumped. And the search I did on distance, I checked the distance from Asia to Ghana specifically was 6,729 miles. To leave Asia and come to Ghana in Africa, it takes you 6,729 miles to get there. Now, the distance from the United States of America to Ghana, before I give you that, the distance from Asia to the United States is 7,406 miles. 7,406 miles. The distance from the United States of America to Ghana is some 40 miles. And UK is even shorter or closer. So now, if you ever think that distance is a problem for you to travel to Africa, look around you and see the number of Asians you see in America. The distance from Asia to America is further than from America to Africa. And from Europe to Africa is even shorter. So that tells you that, look, if these people can travel all the way from Asia, all the way to America, and all the way from Asia to Africa, it's way longer than from America to Ghana or to Africa, and then from Europe to Africa. What excuse do we make as a black race that Africa is actually far? So that's why I don't want to travel. That's a lot of people's excuses, that Africa is too far. Why should I go all this while? But other people, other race have traveled from longer distances to America, have traveled from longer distances to Africa, but the black race outside Africa use this as an excuse why they don't want to make the step to go to Africa, to either business or even visit. It's a black person. If you live outside of Africa, you've never visited Africa, that is quite troublesome. That is quite troubling. It's quite troubling. Think about it. It's really troubling that you haven't visited at all. And for those who have visited, that you haven't taken any step or thought towards trying to do anything on the continent. So distance is no longer a problem. I've demonstrated to you that it takes longer from other places, even for them to other races from other parts of the world to make it to Africa than it is for us in America and in Europe to Africa. So what excuse do we have? What excuse do we have? Of course, if you're a black person, you're also in China. Yes, you have Chinese people traveling from Asia to Africa to do business 24/7. So you have no excuse as well to say that's too far. It's never too far. It's never too far. If the reason why you're never going to visit Africa until you die and deny your next generation of that opportunity to have some type of connection to the motherland is because it is too far, like that's a lost cause, actually. Because I've just demonstrated to you that distance is not a problem, because that's the longest of journey you can have. So distance is taken care of. Opportunities is taken care of. There are thousands of opportunities on the continent. I've demonstrated that. If you watch some of our previous videos on YouTube, you see some of the opportunities. Several of them I've mentioned. I've demonstrated. And I'll be mentioning every Friday. I'll give you some more. Every Friday at least. So distance is not a problem. Opportunity is not a problem. Next thing people use and they ask, what's a health condition like? You know, if I have to take what they call yellow fever vaccination, I mean, how safe is it in terms of health? How am I safe in terms of my health? A lot of people on the African continent are way healthier than people outside of the African continent. So if your excuse for visiting the continent as a black person is because the health is challenging health-wise, again, that's a lost cause. Because I'm telling you that there's a lot of healthy people in Africa than there is outside Africa. Forget what the media tells you. Forget what the picture that the media paints for you. So if you ever sit outside of Africa as a black person, and the reason you don't go to do anything on the continent, either visit or do business, is because you said there are health implications, then you're losing out on something major. You're losing out. And other races are visiting the continent, but you as a black person are using that health as an excuse to not visit a continent. So health should no longer be on your list of reasons why you can't visit the African continent or why you cannot do business on the African continent because of health issues. No. Of course, there are health challenges in Africa like any other place, but it's not worse than most of the places black people live in. Especially, it's not worse than that. There are more healthy people on that side. In fact, there are a lot of things that you could find herbal and traditional medicines for, that if in America, you never find medication for them. I can tell you that for a fact. So if you think health reasons is a good justification why you shouldn't visit a continent, please rethink that. Please rethink that. Next parts that I want to talk about, is not having enough money. Not having enough money. not having enough money. This is another excuse that a lot of people make. That, well, I don't have enough money. Why should I? And this has to do more with the investing piece, the business piece. People who want to do business on a continent, or who should be thinking about some opportunities on a continent for business, and say, well, I don't have enough money. I'm telling you, Africa is the most affordable, in fact, the most affordable place you can find on this planet. So as a black person, if you're ever thinking of any type of business or anything, and you think because of not having enough money, you cannot do anything, that's the last excuse that you have to have. Because I can tell you, it's way more expensive anywhere you can find yourself than in Africa. So if you think it's expensive to do anything in Africa, then I bet you wherever you are, you're never going to be able to do anything. Because I know for sure that it's more expensive in America. I know for sure it's more expensive in Europe than it is in Africa. So with limited resource you have, you can actually do something in Africa. If you plan properly, you can build anything you want to build from the business perspective. So if you ever have on your list that you don't have enough money, that's why you can visit Africa, please cross that. If you do your research and you plan in advance, you can give yourself even 3 years. Start saving little monies. You can definitely visit Africa and come back and have a good trip or good journey for sure. You can do that. You just have to plan. So from today, not having enough money is no longer an excuse. We need to take it off our list. Very key. Very key. The next thing that I want to deal with has to do with the acceptance piece. African Americans especially think they will not be accepted when they come to Africa. The acceptance piece. And it's not just, I realize it's not just African Americans, but most diasporans who have direct connection to the continent of Africa, who have for some reason either born in America, born in Europe, or moved to America and to Europe and other parts when they were very little. A lot of them feel that when they come back to the motherland, they will not be accepted. That's not true. That's not true. These are all fallacies that, based on certain reasons, people have different types of encounters when they come to the continent. And they're based on that to say that that's not accurate. I addressed this the last time on our call about acceptance and the mindset a lot of people travel with when it comes to Africa, especially if they're black. They expect that once they land, people must serve them. People must hail them. People must, especially those who direct descendants, direct connection to the motherland. They think when they come back, people must hail them, carry them on their shoulders and all of that. So when people don't do that, yes sir, they get offended. But that's a wrong attitude to come with. That's absolutely a wrong attitude to come with. You need to eliminate that, because that's what will make you feel people don't accept you. And for other people who are not direct, who don't have direct connection, like Ghanaian parents or African parents that have been born in America or have relocated to America for a long time or to Europe for a long time and they're coming back, beyond them, we have African Americans, of course, don't have any direct contact in terms of that they know directly in the continent. So for them, they're more like strangers. And a lot of them also come with an entitled mindset, like my wife put it, But with that, come with an open mind to learn, to connect with people, to give love as you receive love, because very lovely people. You can meet some star people. Yes, that's normal, but that doesn't dictate how the vast majority think or operate. So you just need to know that. So if you've heard of stories style to people, and that is making you not want to take a visit, not want to come to do any type of business because you think people are hostile, people are not friendly, they don't accept you. I'm saying that's the wrong notion. That is not really the case with the vast majority. So don't let that hold you back. Don't let that stop you because you think people are not receptive. If you come here open-minded, I'm telling you, people are very receptive and open, and they'll gladly want to be with you, want to connect with you. But you have to come with the right mentality or right mindset. That is very important. So that's another excuse you need to check off your list. Talk about opportunities. If an excuse and a question you ask, are there opportunities? Yes, there are. Several of them. Check out some of our videos on YouTube. I talk about a lot of opportunities, and every Friday I'll still be talking about them. Second is distance. If you think Africa is too further away for you to visit, it's too far. It's not. From China, from Asia to America is further than from America to Africa. And of course, way further than from Europe to Africa. But Chinese people visit all the time. They go do business all the time. They leave China, they leave Japan, they live wherever in Asia, they come to America all the time, which is way longer than when it comes to Africa. But black people always find an excuse and it's long. So that distance issue is no longer an excuse. You need to check it off your list. When it comes to health, there are a lot more healthy people in Africa than you can imagine. So it's not an issue. There's no pandemic in Africa. Like we always put, like every day is a pandemic in Africa. That's never true. That's not the case. If the health reasons are the reasons why you don't want to visit or you don't want to do anything on the continent, check that off your list. That's accurate. It doesn't exist. I'm telling you, there are sick people in Africa like there are sick people in America. But that should not be a deterrent for you to the continent. So check that out. I talk about not having enough money. That's not an excuse for people to make, because you can afford more in Africa than you can afford in America for sure. So that affordability piece is not an excuse. Not having enough money. Check that off your list. And finally, the acceptance piece. Whether or not they will accept me, whether or not people, will accept me for who I am. If you're not coming to be pampered, if you're not coming to be kept on show, that be left there, you're not coming necessarily to be crowned as a king in Africa. If you're not coming with that type of mentality, then you do just fine. Everybody will be lovely. People will love you. You may have some bad nuts who have their personal issues, but that doesn't define what the collective think or how the collective think coming from outside. So that excuse is also taken away. So like I said in the beginning, if anybody convinces you that Africa is risky, tell them that Africa is risky, but it's very rewarding as well. Because again, risk come with rewards. So every time you hear anybody saying Africa is risky, what they are telling you that there's a lot of reward to be had when it comes to Africa. And the reward is not just financial reward, but any other reward that you can think about. Spiritual and emotional rewards. These are very important as well. So I think I'll leave it here today. Hey, Captain, good to have you here. Good to have you here. Is that a good point? Yes. We need more of the education piece, Captain. It's a good point. We need more of the education piece. You said Ghanaians are the most friendliest people I know. Yes, that's very true. Ghanaians are the most friendly, absolutely most friendly. I mean, other countries, I've been to Nigeria, they're very friendly in other parts, but Ghanaians are super friendly, I can tell you for a fact. Even the Nigerians will testify that their Ghanaian brothers are too friendly. So if anybody makes an excuse that they're Africa, and they box Africa as one country, and make it look like the entire Africa, is unfriendly. But that's never true. Absolutely never true. And as I said, no African American should have an excuse for not visiting Africa. That's absolutely true. I agree with you that no African American, absolutely not even one, should have any excuse why they shouldn't visit the African continent. They shouldn't. And all of these excuses that people make, again, they're just things that we create in our minds that really are not realistic. They're not the case. There are things that others have said and we have heard. But you need to test and see. You need to take the fear away and make the move. If you've made the move business and your fear has to do with the business piece, take the fear away, get help, and you'll be able to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. So basically, this has been Certified Africa as always. You can reach us on Certified Africa, certifiedafrica@gmail.com directly. You can check out our website at www.certifiedafrica.com. You can check us out over there. So there you go. I have it on the screen here. So if you're watching on Instagram, you can check us. If you have any concern, if you need any help regarding Africa and doing anything there, especially Ghana, you can reach out to us. You can send a DM if you're on Instagram. If you're on Facebook, you can also send us a message. On YouTube, you can also send us a message. You can contact us through email. You can also check our website. We have an online store where we have a lot of merch, like my mug here, as you can see, Certified Africa. You can check out, you could shop there as a sign of support. You can check our online store. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. we try our best to bring you information all the time when it comes to Africa, and especially with doing business and making some type of investment or impact on the continent. We'll talk a lot about that. And also, I like to invite you to our Friday Live. Every Friday, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube. You want to jump on every Friday. We'll talk about Africa and how to make your journey, your connection to the continent much simpler and easy, basically. So jump on every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and let's dialogue. Yeah. So yes, that's our marketplace online. You could check us out and do some shopping, over there. You can also support us any way you can. We're doing yesterday. We talked about some of the. I think 2 days ago, we talked about some of the things that we're doing as a company, our mission, our vision. We went into that. It's on YouTube. You can check it out. It's also on Instagram. Instagram story. Is it story? No. Instagram live. Is it live? Yeah, Instagram live. I should say. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. So it's Instagram TV. Instagram TV. You can also find it on Instagram TV, if not on YouTube. And then you can watch some of the things that we're building and we're doing that you can be a part of, that you can also support. So thank you all for joining. I appreciate you all. Whoever joined, I can see a number of people now. You stayed through. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you all. Counting, I appreciate you for jumping on as well. All right, so stay blessed. Enjoy your Monday evening. Let me not take it away from you. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. I may come your way again tomorrow to share some more knowledge. Every day we share a little knowledge all the time, a little knowledge, until, of course, the word gets to as many people as we can. When you watch, you can always share for other people to also watch. It's very key, so they can gather something. Maybe it takes just one information for somebody to really have a change of mind when it comes to the African continent. And that's what we've committed ourselves to doing. So God bless you all for joining. Enjoy your evening. Bye.